Hey, woo!
Woo!
Okay, hey everyone. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Um, when you're doing live streams and stuff, it's like things are gonna mess up. And this is the first time where we have like amazing panelists of amazing ladies, and it's just like, okay. So today we're going to be talking about women-led action movies. A lot of them came out this year. A lot of them I personally thought was really good, great. Some, and then some, and but a lot of them had talked about representation, but also about like they also had issues that dealt with representation and diversity and all that. And of course, we're going to talk about it. We're ladies. We're like, let's dive in with any problems we have. But I guess first we have to mention what's going on with in Capitol Hill in DC, because it's scary. It was stressful. It's stressful, anxiety. And we were just like, oh, should we still go on and stuff? And so we were like, yeah, because this is going to be fun. And even with all the things going on, it's just you need something to grab onto to make it fun. So yeah, I mean, it's somebody said like, oh, it's 2021, it's just as bad as 2022, like 2020. Wow, I just jumped to 2022. I think my mind is already like like, let's go to 2022. But it just as bad as 2020. No, these issues have always been here. They're systemic, economical oppressions, issues that are just like always were there. Like I said, I guess the pandemic, pushed it to the forefront, or people start to notice what these issues are. I don't know how to like say it and stuff, but they were always there. So it's not because of the year. It's just that, things are just now, with the pandemic, it's a lot. And to give positive vibes, positive thoughts to the Black community, to the brown community, to the queer community, who always said about these white supremacists, but nobody ever wanted to listen to them, and so, so ladies, if you have anything you want to say, go ahead. I'm talking a lot.
So what we're going to do now is we're going to just do a quick intro. So introduce yourself.
Yes.
If you're part of an organization, say the organization's name. And hey, Mr. White, we'd like to check in with our people who check in with us and watch our show. So...
sorry. Oh.
So technical difficulties again. So go ahead and mic yourself and introduce yourself.
Hello, everybody. Can you guys hear me? Great. Yes. Okay. My name is Maggie. I'm part of Pink Leo Productions. I do, similarly to you ladies, I do a lot of TV and film reviews, and I talk about representation and women in the media. So I'm very happy to be here because even though 2020 was a disaster, we did have these great films, especially directed by women. So I can't wait to jump in and talk about it.
I guess I have to go because the other one is frozen. Okay. Well, it's a pleasure. Hi, Christy, Shirley, Maggie, Eric, I believe so. Happy New Year. Yeah, as Maggie mentioned, it's been a really hard year. But besides that, I think it helped us to create different paths and to be able to collaborate more with other people that maybe we even thought about it. And also I represent the Latino film market, and I've been able to create programming for the entire last year. It was great. It was hard, but it was great. And now we have the festival coming in, and either if it's gonna be virtual or with people, we still gonna try to make it for our people, of course. So submissions are open. latinofilmmarket.org. Feel free to submit your project. And also this year we decided to lower a lot the submission fee. So I'll throw out there like a, I don't know, like a 20% less for you guys for the show. Yeah. And again, thank you for the opportunity. Also, I agree with you, Chrissy and Shirley. Definitely we have to speak up. But primarily Puerto Rican people went to prison just because of what is happening right now at the Capitol. Lolita Lebron, among others. I actually even know them. Some of them they live in probably Lower East Side or in El Barrio. So definitely we have to make a statement, and we have to talk for our people. And I think that we can also take some point from the movies that we're going to be talking about.
Erica-Ashley?
Hi, I'm Erica-Ashley. I work with Brooklyn Community Kitchen, serving food to people in Greenpoint and then other areas of Brooklyn. We have organizations. This year has definitely been crazy, but I'm glad to have found them to work with. I think, everything has been crazy, especially things that happened yesterday. It's important to push forward with the right beliefs in what we believe in, and I don't know, kick those other people to the side. But I'm definitely glad to.
I think we're losing Erica-Ashley here. She's coming in and out. Sorry, people.
Oh, yeah.
And we also lost Daniela. It's been a bad connection day. So we're trying to...
We're trying to, like, figure this out. So sorry about that.
Sorry about that. Oh, but in the meantime, Erica-Ashley's coming on. What's up, Blacktastic Media?
Yeah, thanks for watching Blacktastic. Hey. Internet connections, they're rough, man. Like, we go in and out. Like, it's crazy.
You know what? This is tough.
Yeah, this is tough. So, we were just, like I said, talking about women-led films. A lot of them were directed this year by women. And the crazy thing is, the sad thing was that the pandemic happened. A lot of these women-directed films had to go to streaming service. And a lot of people were, of course, upset about that. And, there's some critics and some people that believe that, movies on streaming service are not real movies. They should be in theaters, which I don't believe that's true at all, because, people, they can't see movies sometimes in theaters as well. So they could only see in the streaming service. So I was just like, you know what? We got to see these movies and let's get into it. And so basically we gave you guys questions, and so we sent them to you. And, so the first question was, how do you think these films depicted relationships between these women characters? Whoever wants to go, Maggie, Arilyn.
Okay.
Well, Wonder Woman 1984. We're doing Mulan, the remake. We're doing Captain Marvel, and we're doing the Old Guard. All those four. We're just so that everybody knows, those are the main ones that we will be talking about. So if you haven't watched them, go ahead and watch them. If not, then maybe there will be spoilers here. in terms of the women and women in these films, I did a video on Mulan and Wonder Woman because they predominantly have antagonists also. Both the antagonist and the heroine are both women, and so it was very interesting to see their dynamic being on opposite sides, and seeing that played out. Even though for me it wasn't the best, I thought it was really great to at least have it there. And then in terms of Old Guard, I really appreciated the fact that there was this line in the film where the main character, she tells her, the new person in the group who happens to be a Black woman, I always go first so that you can go first after me, like when she passes. And I was like, this is so interesting. Like, okay, so as we all kind of know just by living in our society, there's usually like some sort of line that we have to go through, right? Usually white women, because of their privilege, they get whatever the rights, they get there first. And then there's like lighter skinned women, and like it goes down the line by your race, by your age. And so it was very interesting for her to say that, even though I know I'm taking it, a step further. But I was thinking about that when I heard. And then with Captain Marvel, I was very weirded out about the fact that there was no real connection. I understand that she had her sister there who also happens to be a Black woman. But I wish that there was more with her story prior to the events that transpired in the film, because we know that she was in an Air Force. We know that there's some camaraderie there, and we didn't really get to see that. So that's what I thought about the women and women dynamic. I really wish that Mulan and Wonder Woman delve deeper into the relationship between the antagonist and the protagonist, which was really amazing.
But I'm gonna say something. All right, so I feel that Wonder Woman, they were trying to tell 3 stories at the same time. So I don't know if anybody else thinks the same. So that's why a lot of people don't like the movie, because I had to watch it twice. And it's nothing, if I ever meet anyone from the cast, it can happen. It's nothing that I'm against you or something like that, but it's, they try to tell a love story, and then they try to tell a friendship story, and then they also want to save the world. I mean, pick one and make it well. So that's like my main comment. And then it's so unpredictable. Oh my god. I don't like to judge people, because then that can happen to me, but it was, that everything is gonna happen. Then I have a couple of problems between the love story, because the character that she's in love, it doesn't push that story further. He's just there. She can fly. She doesn't need to go into a plane. You know what I mean? It's like, what? I think that the writer could have done a better job. They couldn't find something that could have. I think these are good actors, but I just feel that they could have done better. There is another point. The relationship between friendship. Oh, she has this friend, and then it's like they are friends, right? Hold on, it's coming to me. Oh my god, we don't have much time. Alright. So this is usually what happens. They want to create us women to be always fighting. And I feel that in our communities, there is so much partnership and everything with women, and we are actually trying to get along with other women. So why you have to create this monster? It's just, that's why I prefer Mulan, because I feel that Mulan, I feel that a lot of Wonder Woman, it was more like everything was based into stereotypes. They didn't create anything new. They didn't use their creativity to bring good things for our community. But when you watch Mulan, I mean, hold on, because the question is too long. So I'm just gonna talk about this too because I want other people to talk. But you also said that we can talk about editing, soundtrack, and I think that Mulan, it's just something else. It's, you can hear the music, the way they dress. It's just, if you haven't watched it, just go on and do it. And I'm gonna not talk more.
So hey, Erica, Ashley, Daniela. I don't know, Daniela, you didn't hear the question. The question was, the first one was, how do you think these films depict the relationships between the women characters? And of course, the movies are The Old Guard, Wonder Woman, Mulan, and Captain Marvel. Thank you, Maggie, for mentioning them. I forgot them. What is going on? So, Erica, Daniela, you could go answer that question. We'll love your opinions. Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Hey.
Oh, okay. Just making sure. Erica, do you want to go first? She frozen?
Hello? Daniela, you could go. We'll get her back.
I didn't hear you for a second. I was like, oh, I don't want to overstep. So the question is, how do I think that the women were depicted in each of the movies? I didn't get to see Mulan because I didn't want to pay for it. So that's probably the only one. And I had heard some things about the character and some culturally insensitive things that she had said. And I felt a certain kind of way about it. But that's not to say that, you know, there wasn't a similar situation with Wonder Woman, but I didn't hear it myself, so I don't have an opinion on it. As far as the characters, I saw Wonder Woman last night, and I felt like the movie in its entirety was about men and women and the dynamics between them. I saw that come through more than like some of the cultural aspects. I had read a couple of articles about some insensitivities that had gone on in the movie, and I didn't see that as much as I had seen outside of Steve, honestly, and that African American fellow, the one who plays a homeless man who interacts mostly with Barbara. Outside of those two, I didn't. No other man in that entire movie stood out as, excuse me, competent, sensitive, caring, loving. I know it's 1980, so I was just really disappointed that it was so heavy in this. It was almost as if, I don't know. I'm without words. The word that comes to mind is abusive, verbally or physically. And Wonder Woman is always saving the world from the choices that men are making. I was kind of, I mean, ain't it the truth? But at the same time, you know, things have changed. We have many men in this world who have grown to see women as equals on many playing fields outside of what the law tells them to think. Maybe I'm going too far with that, but So that was my opinion on Wonder Woman, constantly having to save us from men. And then the other movie I saw was The Old Guard. I totally agree with what Maggie said earlier. And what's her name? Oh, I'm so bad with names. What was her name, Maggie? The main character?
Wait.
Oh, Charlize Theron?
So her name was Andy for short.
Andy. As far as her having to set the standard for the next woman, the minority woman, the African American woman, that really stood out. I don't see why there couldn't have been a minority woman playing that character, and it more of a generational thing. Like, I'm 6,000 years old, and I felt the ethnicity was more of the focus as opposed to I'm leading the way for you because you're younger. But overall, I liked the movie. I'm a big fan of origin stories. I like that she came from a different time. I like that she had saved people who at some point were significant to the human race throughout time. I like movies that are time period influenced, if that makes sense. And then there was Mulan, The Old Guard, Wonder Woman, and there was
Captain Marvel.
Oh, don't even get me started. It was like looking at a wall, like just a blank canvas. There was very little facial expression. Her dialogue was just bland. I mean, how many times have we seen the blonde-haired, blue-eyed?
Yeah, I'm sorry to cut in. Yeah, Captain Marvel, I'm gonna be honest, was kind of boring. I like the friend talking about friendship, so I'm gonna put my opinion on this. The reason why I love The Old Guard was because of that mentor mentality between Andy and Niall, and just that, yes, she could have been another ethnicity. She is, I think she's white in the comic book, because I read the comic book and she looks like she's Caucasian, but I don't really know. But Andy, of course, is her last name is Scythian. I guess that's Greek, what I'm understanding from, because I read the comics. And I just love that of the mentor and mentoree aspect of it. Gina Prince-Bythewood is the first Black woman to direct a comic book movie. I have to give her flowers. Come on. And the relationship between Mulan, because I saw that movie, to be honest, there wasn't really any relationship between the ladies there. I mean, the fact that the witch, as they called her, she had to sacrifice and die to protect Mulan. And then Mulan was going back to, like, I have to serve the empire. So it's like it's like kind of police type of, like, I have to serve this, protect and all that stuff. So it was kind of weird in a sense. And again, with Wonder Woman, Barbara and Wonder Woman, they didn't really have a relationship. It was like almost like the ending was like a cat fight, to be honest. They had a cat fight. She was Cheetah, like, and it was weird, like, because I thought they were gonna make their relationship more like romantic, but not really. And then Steve Trevor came back, and it was about a man, and then it was like, Diana was like, Barbara was abused. She was about to get raped and stuff by that man who was about to assault her. And then, like, legit, she wanted to be an apex predator. Sorry, this is all spoilers. I am so sorry. And, and then Diana's like, no, you have to get back your wish, because this is all about wishes and stuff. So it was, I don't know. It's just a weird the relationship wasn't really there. I think Barbara's characterization wasn't like fully defined. I wish they worked on that relationship between Barbara and Diana. I wish they actually made them friends. You know, I don't know. I'm talking too much. Sorry. Whoever
No,
wants to go.
I completely agree. I want to. Oh,
Don't.
was somebody gonna say something? Oh, okay. I totally agree. I want to point out that all of the women that we're mentioning here, Captain Marvel, Wonder Woman, Mulan, and both women in the Old Guard, they were all warriors. They were all warriors. They all have some training, and I think that, and I mentioned this in my video prior, that, and especially in Wonder Woman, there was such a missed opportunity between these two ladies. There was this amazing scene. It was when, at the very beginning, when Barbara was about to be assaulted, where Diana comes in and she says to her, "It's very easy. I'll show you." And she was going to show her how to defend herself. And I pointed out that they could have had this amazing relationship because they went on a little girl date. They worked together. They were both brilliant women. There was a little bit of a dynamic in the workplace. Their boss was also an African American woman, and there could have been this just a missed opportunity there, because then even Barbara kind of helps her out a little bit, tracking down the stone and Maxwell as well. And what I pointed out was that Wonder Woman grew up in a society where there were a lot of women, and in their warrior comrade military way, they pushed each other, but they also lift each other up. Barbara didn't seem like she had that. Barbara seemed like the typical person who was shy, who was told by society that because she wore glasses and was intelligent that she couldn't get a boyfriend or whatever it was. And so she relied on this external ability that she acquired later on for everything. That's why she couldn't see herself any other way but with those abilities. My point was that had that relationship developed, had there was more of a confidence inside Barbara, she wouldn't have gone through that drastic transformation, because she started to operate from a point of revenge afterwards. She wanted to kill the guy. She wanted to be an apex predator so that no one can ever hurt her again. But Diana is a woman and she gets hit on all the time, but there's a difference. She has something that Barbara doesn't, and it's like this self-confidence, this thing that was built onto her for years in the mascara. And similarly to Mulan, that training, that camaraderie, though it was with men, prepared her so that when the witch was like, "Hey, we can go. We both have the same power. We were both oppressed by men. Let's go. Let's go." She decided to still be loyal and true to those comrades, to that inner self-confidence that she had, instead of saying, "You know what, I'm going to, go on a revenge spree because I was rejected by society." So I feel like, again, had those relationships developed further, we could have given a justification for someone like Barbara, someone like the witch, to be a true antagonist. And we really didn't need Maxwell or the other male.
Exactly.
I don't know why you're there. I think Daniela was trying to think about that. He was inside someone else's body, and he was having a physical relationship with Diana, and people had pointed out that that's a really big problematic flaw within the movie. So yeah.
I wanna talk a little bit about Mulan. I think as a filmmaker, I really like The Witch because maybe it's from my point of view. I feel that a lot of people has to suffer, and primarily for our communities, so we can actually get something. it can be a job, it can be an opportunity, it can be many things. And especially like in culture stuff, a lot of people has to die in order for, how can I explain it? I wish I could have an example. But let's say I had the opportunity to study in the US. Probably somebody from my family didn't have the opportunity. So it has to pass that amount of time so I can actually enjoy that opportunity. And that's why I understand the relationship, even though it's not so deep. But that's the beauty of it, because you see this person that can be so, like a bird in different ways and transform. And I don't know. It's just, I love it. You can see. And I think it was great. I didn't need to see more. And then all these superheroes are depressed. So can I be a superhero? I'm kidding. So I'm like, all these women are like crying inside and they have to forgive and they're so vulnerable.
Yeah. So we have on. Sorry, Erica-Ashley, do you want to say anything about the woman relationships in any of these movies?
Yeah. The in Mulan, my favorite. Like, I forgot I was even watching Mulan. I just wanted to see her story, and I liked her and Mulan, and I felt like they should have done their own movie together. I feel like that would have been great. And then my favorite line in the Old Guard was what Maggie had said. That she said, "I go first so that you can go first later." I love that relationship because it's like women helping each other in general. So I think that's why I didn't like Mulan as much, because I thought she should have gone with the hawk lady, and they could have just like.
Oh no! She said so many good things. They just dropped.
Oh gosh, I'm so sorry, guys.
She was like, sorry.
We're
sorry.
really trying.
Okay, we're really trying. So hopefully she comes back because she was saying good things. Let's go to the next question. So Mulan and Wonder Woman were kind of like dealing with racial overtones of the film, dealing with Max Lord's Latino dad in the Middle Eastern subplot.
Oh, hold on.
So,
before we take it to the next question,
okay.
let's give it one more shot for Erica-Ashley. Come on, Erica-Ashley. Let's say, Erica-Ashley.
Do you want to finish what you're saying?
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
The last one.
Oh yeah. Oh, just that they should have gone on together and taken over the world. Mulan and the Hawk Lady. They didn't need anyone else. It could have just been them.
That's great. I love it. That could have just been them. So we were moving on to the next question. We were talking about the racial overtones of the film, dealing with Max Lord's Latino dad, and also with the Middle Eastern or Egyptian, North African subplot in Wonder Woman. And also there's been issues with Mulan as well. The Chinese community have talked about it. So if you want to, guys, bring that up, mention anything, Maggie, do you want to go first? You could go first and bring up what you got.
There were so many things that could have gone better in Wonder Woman, but didn't. And this was one of them. I think Arilyn mentioned earlier, when you're watching the movie, you don't know where to really focus your attention because there's like too many things happening. And we could have used this subplot better. I think, first of all, there was a lack of people of color in general. They did a better job with that in the first movie, I feel. This movie really lacked people of color. And the people that we did see, they were a person who was experiencing homelessness. Then, and actually, I'm not quite, well, I have to say, I don't remember if he was experiencing homelessness or if he was someone else, but okay, so he was experiencing homelessness. And then we see an abusive Latino father with an alcohol issue, and then we don't really address it. It's just like a flashback, okay? And then the person in the Middle East, it was categorized as this person was completely selfish, and then the other person too that really kind of aggravated me was the fact that we saw this person that was a Mayan descendant, and he was explaining about the stone, and I don't think that actor has a descendants, and even if that was the case, I just don't. I do not understand. Like, I feel like they could have done it without that person. They could have just gone to the library. They could have just, I don't know, done something else. Don't bring the person and then like have them explain and then just leave them. Like, I don't remember their name. I don't remember anything about them other than the fact that they were there to explain to the white folks what would go wrong if they used a stone. So I had a lot of issues with the representation, particularly in Wonder Woman.
Erica-Ashley, do you want to go next? Did you hear the question? I hope you heard the question.
Not fully, not fully, but I think I kind of grasped what was going on. In Mulan, when they added Tai Chi, I meant to look up to see if that's like, I just didn't like the addition because it made it feel like it wasn't like something innate within her, that it was something on the outside that she had to touch into. That was the only thing I didn't like. And the fact that they related it to being a witch. And I was just like, that's not cool. And even the Hawk Lady had said, I'm not a witch, I'm a warrior. So I think that was interesting. But I don't know, like in Asian culture, like how wrong that is for like that time period. If they could even like use Tai Chi as a, like claim that for that time period or whatnot. So I don't know.
The Tai Chi, sorry if I'm saying it wrong. I was watching a video. I'm going to put these video and articles on link that Tai Chi is actually like something that is practice in a sense. Like that's what the lady was saying in the video. I could be totally wrong. It's you cultivated. Am I saying that word? You cultivate your Tai Chi. And then in the Mulan movie, it was about like how guys had it and no girls had it. So they made it seem like it was the Force with, in Star Wars, which was kind of weird. So yeah, Erica-Ashley, are you done or?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Daniela, you want to go?
Let me unmute myself. I was just going to say that overall, it is pretty disappointing in Wonder Woman that all of the minorities, except for Barbara's friend in the beginning, were bad. Right? They were the bad guys. They were depicted as villains or traumatized or just, they were depicted as the stereotypical from whatever culture they're supposed to be from, except for Steve and Barbara's friend. But even Barbara's friend is a minority. He's not a bad person doing bad things or saying bad things, but he's depicted as homeless. So, I mean, I don't think it's fair.
I was gonna say the only person of color, there were two people of color that were all right, and that was a little girl at the mall at the very beginning. She was surprised by
adorable.
I remember her now.
She doesn't say anything. She just admires this white lady. And then the other one was Barbara and Diana's boss, who's also a black lady, but she only has like one or two lines. There's nothing else about her that we know other than the fact that that's their boss.
And I think that signifies something too. The little African-American girl did not have any lines. And then the one grown woman, African-American woman, I believe she's African-American, only has a couple and she's barely memorable. Like, it's disappointing. So,
and with the they were talking about like the Amazon women, especially the women of color, they have no speaking roles. They're all just background. So it's crazy. Maggie, you could go.
Oh my God, no, let me tell you something. In the first movie, my friend and I, we left the theater and we're like, they made that black lady the nanny. Because there was a black lady at the very beginning. She was one of the Amazonian. And the only thing that she says, that she speaks is, Diana. Like she runs after the little girl. That was it. Like she was the nanny. And then in this one, I think that there was another like woman warrior. But again, they're not fully constructed women. We don't know their name. We don't know their ranks. We can just assume, but there was nothing.
Arilyn, do you want to go? You got anything to say?
I mean, pretty much, I agree with everyone, and I will say that, we have to make this accent cool because white people do it and they make it happen. So we have to be able to also normalize for our communities as well. I will say that.
Exactly. And, the Latino dad, Max Lord, his dad beats him up. Oh, he's abusive. That was the thing that, like, again, this, and then a lot of Middle Eastern or North African critics talked about that part in Egypt, how it was just showing them as villains again, or, because they're always shown as villains in movies like in Indiana Jones and all that. It's like we're not past that, and until you have positive representation from different cultures, then you could do other like different roles, like villain roles and all that stuff. But we don't. A lot of minority cultures, don't have those positive representation, so they only get like the villain or all that. So
before we move to the next question, I want to. Does anyone else have any other thoughts on this? If you do, please unmic yourself.
I do. Oh, I'm sorry. When I was talking about the accent, I was talking about the main character because I do feel that the Latino community and also other communities that are minorities, although we're close to be majority, majority between the minority. You guys got it. I think we have to learn how to normalize our accent and put our people to act on good things. Yeah.
No, definitely, you're right, Arilyn. So let's go.
I was just gonna say really quick. Is that all right?
No, go.
I was just gonna say really quick. Like, I wonder how much attention this movie would have gotten because of all of these stereotypes and the concerns that everyone has mentioned. I wonder how much attention this movie would have gotten if it wasn't a woman director, producer, if the lead wasn't a woman. Christy mentioned Christy, Indiana Jones, was it
Indiana Jones, yeah.
I mean, that movie has become a quote unquote a classic, right?
Yeah, you're right, because that is another question about the fact that when it's a woman director and a woman lead character, they get more pressure to be perfect in a sense of how this film will come out. Because Wonder Woman deals with magic stones, but so does the Avenger movies, and they deal with magic stones too. So yes, there is a harsher it's harsher the way they judge these women-led directed films, but at the same time you could see that these people do have the right to say that yes, this representation was not good and I don't like it, and Maggie, you could go.
Okay, I'm a fan of the Marvel universe, and you mentioned like the Avengers and other like action films. I just think that they're either there's either no people of color, so there's nothing to kind of judge, or there are, and then we can go ahead and say something. Because, for example, in the Avenger films and even in Captain Marvel, we have a main black guy, and his name is Fury. But he is depicted as someone who is smart, who is capable, who is a leader in his role, even though he's probably the only black person in the film. He's aware of that. They don't. It's not like they point it out, but he makes his character the way that it's supposed to be. Some people do say, you know what, if the person is white in the comics, they have to be white in the film, and they get in that kind of they have that kind of excuse. And I think that really is a poor excuse. We've seen how great films have been doing, how adaptations have been doing when they do include more people of color in the film. I think that with Wonder Woman, it's just kind of it was so out of touch. That's my thing. It wasn't even like they weren't there. It was like the stereotypes, not just even in the people of color, where yes, we're talking about the minorities, but even in the character of Barbara, for example, the fact that like all of a sudden she gets vision, she's like, oh, let me take off my glasses, and now I'm like this beautiful girl that can go into the mall and pick up the hottest outfit. And it's like, wasn't this like, are we watching like Pretty Woman / She's All That, or like She Got That, or something like that? Like, what am I watching? And it's directed by a woman, and all the other films that we were mentioning, they're all directed by white women, except for you mentioned The Old Guard. Yes. And that was the only film where there was a person of color. There were two main people of color who had speaking roles. They had a story behind them. They had a name, and they actually did something in the film other than just either not exist or be a villain. I'm okay with a villain if even if they are a person of color, as long as they are dynamic. And that's the thing that really upset me about particularly Wonder Woman, where even the villain was a little like flat, right? And there was nothing to go on. But again, when you were talking about male directed films, I don't know if they can get away with things like that anymore, because there are people particularly on social media that are harsher now when it comes to that. But I just think that there's not enough to go on. Like, what am I supposed to say in even in Captain Marvel, there are some people that are black that are painted green. In Avengers, in one of the Avenger films, or one of the MCU films, Guardians of the Galaxy, the only person of color, which is Zoe Saldana, she's painted green. It's not like we can say, oh, like there's a woman of color there. Yeah, I have an issue with that as well. But that's for another day. I don't think it's women related. I just think that maybe women haven't been given enough of a chance, or we don't know the type of resources that they had behind the camera to make these films. And if you don't mind, I do have a question for Arilyn. I think she may be answering this. We mentioned before how these films could have been on the big screen, but they were not. They're on streaming services. So it's good for us and good for a lot of people to have more access to watch these films. But what happens to, like, how do they get money? How do they, like, how do these women directors get the money and then, show, like, revenue for these films to later on be presented as statistics for other women directors to get, be like, you know what, Wonder Woman 1984 was directed by a woman and it did like such. How did that, if Arilyn, I don't know if you may know, how does that work?
And Arilyn,
Sure. I want to answer that, but I also have a comment that you talk, Maggie. You say good things about the old guard, and I really want to point out that I know that in Mulan that happens, but it's way towards the end. But in the old guard, we see the relationship of a woman not being judged by men, by her team. she's like a mother, but at the same time, we're doing this, period. It's like, no, 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 no. It's not what you want. It's what I want, and follow me. So I really appreciate that, because I know all of you go to a room with men's, and it's rough. Okay, how about Maggie? Yeah, definitely. I remember that oh my god, I have to say this quickly. I went to meet, it was like a conference, and I also follow her, a producer that she did Hustlers. And you have to go to LA, you have to get your pitch together, you have to knock door, you have to get mentors, and you have somehow, even if there's no statistics, somehow you have to convince the white people they have the money. Although you could do grants, you could apply for grants and start getting something done, maybe a sister or maybe a short that you could show the people what you can be capable of doing. But also you have to invest into marketing, because it's not about to make something and then you put it on YouTube but you don't promote it. You have to create a whole year, saying, hey, this is my project, I have these people. And I know it sounds stupid, but over free commercial, Coca-Cola, you see it everywhere, all the time. So you have to be so creative so that people will follow what you're making. And I read your story, I think it's great. Just keep it up and do it. We're waiting for it.
Oh yeah. Late. We're gonna take it to the last question. Totally rough tone for me, but sorry. But I just want to really how we're thinking about the next superhero, and like female superhero, and who would you guys pick to be on the big screen or even streaming service? What kind of story would you like to see and all that stuff? And I'll tell you mine first really quickly. And my first people would probably be Storm. I would do Jubilee, and I would definitely do Rogue from X-Men. And I'll tell you why, because their dynamic is amazing. They're diverse. And I feel like those characters have like real like personalities that are so different. Like I feel like in movies now, like with Wonder Woman, with Captain Marvel, their personalities are not that too different. They're very like serious. Like they take themselves too serious. And I feel like there's no room for humor. There's no room for, I don't know, spontaneity with these characters. And I feel like Storm, Rogue, and Jubilee, if you ever seen X-Men, they have those like different kind of traits that kind of stand out in a story. And I'm talking from like the comic book TV series. I haven't really read the comic books, but those are the three characters that I would love to see in a superhero movie with female. So tell me who you guys are thinking about.
Sure. I think I chose these two because I feel that in order for this to happen, they have to be Hollywood actresses. Although I would love to see a more Afro Latina out there to see playing a superhero. But I do have a Zoe Saldana and also Rosalind Sanchez. I think they proved already that they're capable of acting very well in Hollywood and they can make it happen. But I wish I could see more people like me. Yeah.
I mean, maybe this is too obvious.
Hold on, and I want to see Maggie's project come to life. That's what I want to see soon.
Thank you. I mean, this might be a little too obvious, but La Borinqueña, I know that I want to say Rosario Dawson is in working with that project. And there was another one, if I figure it out, I would tell you guys. But there was another comic book, and it was this Native American main character as the superhero, and she was a woman as well. But I know that they, when I actually had a very brief interaction with Patty Jenkins, because I met her during an event. And me and this other young woman, we both asked the question about, there is like a comic book version of like an African American or a Black Wonder Woman, like she is like a sister of hers or something like that, and how to incorporate more people of color in the film. Even though she really just, didn't really answer the question, I would like to see more, like Arilyn said, more people of color on screen. I think that even though I'm a huge X-Men fan, and I would love to see all the ladies that Christy was mentioning, instead of having like remakes where there are people of color playing these characters, I want to see like just brand new, superheroes and people of color being those superheroes, instead of having, for example, like they did for Little Mermaid, where they did a remake with a Black actress. I feel like that causes some issues, so I want it completely brand new.
Erica-Ashley, you have any superheroes you want to see now?
I like the woman who plays the sister in Black Panther. I feel like she would be really great just because she's a scientist and she's funny. Her character is funny and she's a scientist. I feel like that would be really great.
Yeah, her name's Suri, right?
Yeah, in the movie, yeah. And then definitely from the Old Guard, which I feel like is my favorite movie of the four, Niall. Like, I want to see more of her for sure.
Erica-Ashley, you just made me happy. That's my favorite too.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just came out.
Yeah.
Daniela, do you got any superheroes you want to see?
I would definitely have to agree with Maggie in that if we're going to be seeing more minority women in movies that are Marvel or DC or whichever, that it be a brand new, fresh story and not a remake of something that a white woman did or a white man did. And then also, I'm super, super excited for, what was her name, Shirley? You just said it.
Who?
For
Niall? Or
the Black Panther sister.
Oh, Suri.
Suri. Yeah, I'm super excited for that movie. I'm over the moon for that movie. Because she has so much to offer. She's uber intelligent and she's charismatic, and she has that spark to really carry a movie from point A to point B and leave people wanting more. I felt that way with just the parts that she had in Black Panther, and then there were a couple of other Marvel movies that she was sprinkled in, just even visually, not even with any lines. But I'm very drawn to what she might have to say or any input she might be contributing in whatever movie she's in. Maybe I just like her as an actress and her as a character. I don't know. That's my 2 cents.
No, yeah, you're right. And yeah, I agree with all of you. Yes, let's see all of this. And also I want to say queer representation. That's the thing I loved about the Old Guard, was that there was a gay queer romance between Joe and Nikki. And we never see that legit in superhero action movies. They got to show their love and be affectionate. And that's amazing.
And it was pretty deep. I loved it.
So, yeah, Maggie, you can go on.
I know we're almost out of time. I just want to say, first of all, thank you for this discussion. And second, if you guys are really interested in more women on media, TV, where is that? TV shows with women lead, then there are films.
Mm-hmm.
No, you're right. You're right. You're right. So yeah, I think that's the end of it. With all like thank you. And just like talking, I love all your
Thank you.
opinions. No, you're welcome. And we're definitely gonna do this again. Don't worry, it's gonna be better with the.
We're gonna try to figure.
We're gonna try. We're gonna do it. So thanks so much. Be safe, everyone. Positive thoughts to all of you. Take your time. Do whatever you want this weekend, or do nothing this weekend. Thank you guys for watching Geekettes Chat. Yeah, and
we have Latino Film Market,
Maggi,
Maggi,
Pink Leo Productions. Check them out. They do amazing content.
And after the show, we're gonna link everybody down below.
Yes, subscribe, like. Thank you to Maggi, Arilyn, Daniela, Erica-Ashley. I don't know why I'm moving my hands a lot. I don't know what's happening. Have a good night, ladies. Thank you, everyone.